and you're sort of seeing this happening too. But if you're currently a buyer and you're looking to find, a home, let us know what your thoughts are. And I'm wondering if it's in different price ranges too, because it seems like, one of the houses, like I'd say like up to 400, that range seems to have two demographics in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that price range is sort of difficult. And, you have people looking to right size and, want maybe a smaller home because they've already done the whole, four-bedroom colonial. They've already done, sort of that lifestyle, and they're looking for something smaller. It might be one person, two people. And then in the same demographic, it is, the people who are just starting out, like me. So, it would be just me. I'm one person, or it could be, a new couple or somebody just starting, their lives together or something, it's hard because you're sort of at totally different ranges, and yet you're in the same price range.
Well, and here's the thing. It's interesting because I had a mother there with her daughter looking at the open house, and I was explaining that to them. I was like, it's a tough bracket to sort of be in because we have a couple different demographics that are looking at it. And she's like, you literally just explained us. So the daughter's looking for her first time, and the mother is looking for the right size. So there you are. You're competing against your own kid. So
Oh, how wild would that be if they like both put
both
in
put an offer.
offers
I
and they're
know.
competing with each other? Like, how do you not tell your
Yeah,
parent or your
I think that
child that?
I have a feeling that mom would let bow out and let the daughter go ahead with it. I had a thought on something and I don't know where it went.
I had a thought, but I don't anymore. Yeah, it's definitely it's I don't know how else to describe it other than difficult, And did you remember your thought?
I
Okay.
did, yeah. So one of the things that I think that I think we're going to start to see is I'm sort of nervous about this for some people is starting to see some layoffs.
Yeah.
So I know like a lot of the schools in the area, like I saw on the news that Brockton actually they let go of I think it was like 170 teachers because of
Oh.
budget cuts and not enough enrollment. And I also have heard of some larger firms in the city that have been doing some layoffs. So I'm curious how that will sort of unfold because think about that people who are losing their jobs that were in the market.
Yeah. And just the cost of everything is just
Oh,
going up, and I couldn't even imagine like if you lost your job. And so I was at Stop and Shop earlier, getting stuff because I was making a BLT for lunch, and there was somebody changing the prices on the bread, and they had like taken a piece, or they had taken a loaf of bread down and had turned
so
to
they took a
somebody.
piece of bread. They
Took
just,
a piece of. They were like, "I can't afford this. I'm just gonna take a piece of bread."
can I
Uh,
have one piece?
well, you know what? As a single person, I would like to buy a half loaf of bread. Okay, I waste so much bread because I can't eat it all. But anyways, she she turned to the person next to her and was like, This is another price increase. They're all increasing. Like all the breads are increasing. How is anyone supposed to make a sandwich?" And I was like, you know what? That's true because I'm
You should have
paying
asked her.
$18 for turkey.
You should have asked her if she was single and you guys could
Go
split
in on us. Yeah.
split a loaf out in the parking
Do you want to
lot.
split a loaf? You know what? I'm gonna have to start doing that. I'm gonna do that with your father.
Yeah, you can do that. Hey, Dad, if you're
I'm gonna
listening.
call Francois and say,
Hey, we're
"Hey,
gonna
hey,
split.
Frank, you want to split a loaf of bread?"
We're gonna split a loaf.
Um,
But it is
yeah.
a good point. I'm gonna tell you. I went to Walmart. When was it? Oh, it was Saturday after I did my open house. I went to Walmart, and I am not kidding you. So first of all, I like the meat at Walmart, right? It's good.
Yeah.
It's fresh. Anyways, so we buy because I like to buy the good dog food for like the dogs, but it doesn't have grain and stuff like that, which is no grain isn't good for them. So now Mark and I have been buying a big package of the chicken breast and cooking that like just plain for the dogs and we chop it all up nice. Anyways, so like I buy the big family pack of it and I got steaks and I got some chicken tender things for us type thing, like to tender. Not much. Not much.
Yeah.
You're not even going to believe how much I spent. I got Jell-O and Cool Whip. I got Maxim Chubby Hubby ice cream.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know how we got on this track right now, but it was $400.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
$400.
Yeah.
Like
I am not surprised.
I've got a couple cleaning supplies.
Yeah, and there's gonna be people like me that are gonna stop buying loaves of bread at $7-8 a whack because half of it goes to waste because you can't eat bread that fast.
Well, one thing I know for sure right now is if we can't convince ourselves to buy a full loaf of bread, how are we supposed to tell people it's okay to buy a house?
I know. I didn't even take any allergy medication today, so there's no excuse.
I think maybe I took too much.
So we are the perfect match. So if you have any questions about real estate, give us a call, 781-837-4900. And we're going to power through the next half hour.
I literally think I'm drooling. I'm laughing so hard.
Oh, I do want to do another little side note because we haven't even really talked about real estate. That we are hosting a yard sale this Saturday at our office, 19 Matakeesit Street in Pembroke. And it's a bring a canned good to pay what you can, or you can pay the yard sale. Don't bring bread, okay? Unless you're going to split it with me. And I'll buy it off of you.
No, can I get serious for a second? I mean, if we're
trying to talk about the yard sale.
I'm sorry, I haven't talked to you all day. I've been busy in my office with the door shut. But, here we are talking about, like, how hard it is for us to, like, afford a full loaf of bread. But, like, this is not funny. I mean, this is serious. We are donating all of this to the food pantries.
Yeah.
I can imagine that they are backlogged with the amount of people who are needing to have the services of them.
My mom says, don't bring bread, LOL. That made me laugh. I'm glad somebody is listening.
Hey, Liz.
Good grief. We're losing everybody else.
Liz, she needs to split a loaf of bread with you.
Yeah, Mac, you want to go in on a loaf of bread?
Now I'm going to give you a raise. It's going to be
the price of bread.
One loaf of bread a week.
You heard it here first, everyone. Now that I'm saving so much money on bread, I could probably increase my price range. Anyways, we're having a yard sale this Saturday from 9 to 1, Saturday, June 3rd. If you came to our yard sale before, which was a smashing hit, you know that we're raising money and all of the canned goods for the Pembroke Firehouse Food Pantry and for My Brother's Keeper. Last year, we had a goal of doing 5 baskets for My Brother's Keeper for Thanksgiving, but we ended up doing 10 thanks to everything that we raised. So we were able to feed 10 households for Thanksgiving dinner. But Thanksgiving's in November and this is gonna be June. But that's okay. We can figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. But we are having a yard sale again this Saturday.
Well, with the money, we can put the money aside.
Yeah, we're gonna put the money aside. We'll donate the food now before it goes bad. Anyways,
you know, bread gets moldy. That's the other thing too.
No, don't bring bread.
No, we don't want bread. But like, can we talk about fruits and vegetables?
No, this is a real estate show. We need to get back on track. Okay, unless it's pertaining to like putting it in your new fridge in your new home. You could talk about fruit, but other than that, no. Oh, I thought that said charcuterie, but that says characteristics. Okay. Explain the high demand and low inventory dynamics. Explain that, Sharon.
Oh, this is just terrible. Where were we? What number?
Segment 2. Oh. We have a half hour.
Okay. Highlight the which one?
Oh my gosh. Explain the high demand and low inventory dynamics.
Oh, okay. I will get back on track. Yeah, I wonder, I don't know, should we take a break?
No, we've only been doing this for 15 minutes.
I don't know why. I think I ate way too many Tic Tacs today. And
did you even eat lunch?
Oh, I had a piece of string cheese and
if you said a piece of bread, I swear I was gonna.
I know. All right. Okay. So we're going to start all over. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara along with Melissa Wallace. We have George in studio at WATD. We are just being a little silly this long weekend. Definitely got to us. So 781-837-4900. If you have any questions for us regarding real estate, I promise you we are professionals. Something isn't right with my head tonight.
Something isn't right with us. But if you also want to see Sharon in her pajamas, we are live on Facebook as well. So if you follow Boston Connect Real Estate, look at her pajama pants.
They're not really pajama pants. I was leaving my house today, and I put on my jean jacket. And my mother's like, "Where are you going?" I said, "Work." And she said, "In your pajamas."
She just has like linen pants that have a print on it, and they look like pajama pants. Is that Greece?
It looks like it's either Greece or like the Amalfi Coast or something like that.
Yeah. So,
Oh God, George,
just fire
George,
us.
are we fired?
George walked away.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm listening.
Oh, do you think we're gonna get fired after tonight's show?
I wouldn't worry about that. There's way more things to worry about from this station than, whatever you said. I've heard it all, too.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay,
Okay,
preparing your ideal offer. We're on to segment 3 because we're giving up on 2. We're too silly for that one.
No, but
Segment 3.
we have to talk about it. The low inventory. The reason why things are crazy right now is because we have low inventory. Why do we have low inventory? Because people are saying they have no place to go, right? So, I mean, we know.
We know. Okay. All right. Thanks for that input. Segment 3. Preparing your ideal offer. If this is your first time listening to us, I promise we have better shows. You can go to talkrealestateroundtable.com and listen to any of your past shows because those are better than this one. Preparing
We
your ideal
openly
offer.
admit that tonight's show sucks. We know. We're having a ball, but I don't know how our listeners are feeling right about now.
Preparing your ideal offer.
Okay, all right.
Good grief.
I know.
Okay. So I definitely wanted this segment in there because everyone knows I take care of our escrow account here at Boston Connect Real Estate. So I'm in charge of the money. So anytime that we receive an escrow check, why are you laughing?
Because that's probably making people feel really comforted right now.
We said that we were professional, okay? And then we just
Yeah.
went on about something else. But so every time that a check comes to us, we have to put it in an escrow account. And then obviously when it closes, the money is dispersed where it's supposed to go. However, what I have realized, and I thank my Nana for this because she taught me, I know how to write a check. Okay? Not many people know how to write a check. I have realized this in my position in this company. And I recently, the past, 4 escrow checks that I've received have been written out to made-up companies like Boston Connect Realty Group. That's not us. Sharon and Mary Real Estate.
Such thing.
No such thing.
As a company, anyway.
Yeah. Team Flynn. Nope. It's Boston Connect Real Estate. So, and also, somebody signed the back of the check. One of my checks that I received last week. So not only is it written to the wrong company or a company that does not exist, doesn't have a tax ID number. We
have options in place, though, don't we?
There's also not signing the check, then double signing the check front and back, signing just the back. And it's the most, or just has totally wrong information on it. And it's funny because
Who's dropping off the check? Is the buyer that's dropping off the check, or is it the buyer's agent that's dropping off the check? Well, I mean, if a buyer's agent picks up a check from their client, aren't they checking the check?
Yeah,
aren't they looking at it?
So
and
here's
saying,
the thing: we had this discussion, I think, at our last office meeting when you were talking about Isabel getting 20 offers and what you like to see in your offer packages. And one of the things is a copy of the escrow deposit check.
Yep.
Some agents were like, we don't, I don't really have my client write out a check. Like, what if I put in 20 offers for them? Now they're ripping up 20 checks because they're not getting 20 offers accepted. Yeah. You are. Like,
Yeah, you can go online to Checks Unlimited and buy a pack of 500 for $3.99.
yeah.
And if you can't afford that, you shouldn't be buying a house.
It's definitely not a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
You just it just sort of blows my mind, and that there are some people who either don't know how to write a check or writes a check improperly, and that sort of, we see that, like, we, especially when now we have to go through the efforts of getting a new check because again, we're not Boston Connect Realty Group, we're not Sharon and Mary Real Estate, like, we're not these companies.
Doesn't the agent, my clients call me and they say, who should I write the check out to? And I tell them.
Yeah.
So this information is coming directly from their agent. It has to be.
Maybe.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But we also have deposit links, so people can do it electronically now, which is a good thing. But then people are getting that a little confused as well. But you know what? It's a learning curve.
Yeah, there are going to be people that are not comfortable with doing it online, which is totally valid. However, this process of buying a house, it is serious. It's not just serious to a buyer, and it's serious to a seller too, because there's so many moving parts to this. And if you want to bind your offer, you got to get your check to the right place and write it out properly.
That's why they call it earnest money. Right?
Yeah.
But the other thing, too, is with that, going back to the example you brought up about how at the office meeting, I had brought this topic up, and people were saying, well, I don't have my clients write a check anymore, or we don't request a check anymore. And for me as a listing agent, maybe it's a little old school, but maybe because I cross my T's and dot my I's, but when somebody's giving me a check, like that first deposit check, I'm verifying different things. Like, I'll look at their address, and yes, I will look up the address in MLS. And there have been many a times where people will say, "Oh, the house isn't contingent upon upon the sale of another house." And then I'll say, "Can you please explain to me why? I see that your client has a house. The address on the check is. Can you confirm that they don't have to sell their house? Or I can see that it's on the market right now. Can you confirm that you're not just trying to push out the dates and hope that everything coordinates?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just me being a detective. That's why I like to get the check.
Yeah. We like to be detectives.
Yeah, that's when I'm a listing agent, but you take care of all the checks that come into the office.
But you just said, it might be old school, but that's something that has worked for you. So why change it?
I know.
Why change something? Why change something if it's working? And I
feel like it's my responsibility to my sellers to make sure that I am looking at every different thing and trying to, the problem is right now, because it seems like there is so much desperation out there for buyers, and they're just so fatigued. I feel so bad for these buyers. I want every single one of them to get a house, whether they're working with us or they're working with somebody else. I just feel so badly for them. But it's my responsibility to my seller to make sure I am doing everything properly to make sure that they do accept the correct offer when they get multiple offers.
Yeah. Because we never want anyone to have, buyer's remorse too. So we've seen releases because the buyers have decided to walk away within their time frame, which is, they have the right to do that.
It's interesting. None of my listings have had releases in a long time. I haven't had one in a long time.
Yeah. But, oh, you cut me off guard.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, releases. So, and, sometimes the releases because, it might be suitable housing. The seller hasn't found suitable housing. The buyer's getting a little antsy, especially with rates fluctuating. They need to get into the house. But with buyers walking away, it could be, that they have buyer fatigue. They're now putting in an offer. They're just offering everything in the hopes that it gets accepted. And then once it does, they go, oh no, I shouldn't have offered everything that I have, or shouldn't have waived everything, type of thing.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that this is a real thing too, because, I might be adjusting some of my marketing plan on, as a listing agent and giving people as many days as we did this last one. So we came on the market Wednesday, off showing started on Thursday, had an open house Thursday night, had an open house on Saturday, and offers were due on Tuesday because of the holiday. And I just wonder, is that too much time for people to be thinking that all these offers are coming in? And that's the other sad thing is like,
But people
a
would
lot
know
of
that if
agents,
they just asked.
agents
Like,
aren't
just
calling
ask
me.
the question.
They're not asking. I reached out to somebody and I was like, oh, I know that your client was at the open house. They really showed a lot of interest. Are they thinking about putting in an offer? And the response was, they just felt as if they were going to be bid out of this because there was so much activity at the house this weekend, which is not true. Like, you don't know unless you submit an offer.
Yeah.
Why are you looking through clothes right now?
I know. I got
You
an
were.
ad. I got an ad and it just caught my eye. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, but here's the thing. We talked about this, I don't know, two or three shows ago. And again, if you want to listen to a better show, talkrealestateroundtable.com. But
My Tic Tac high has gone away.
oh yeah, now you're shutting down.
Now I'm crashing.
Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, jeez.
Stop
Maybe-
cutting me off. What did we talk about a couple shows ago? That's what I said.
Buyer fatigue. Okay. So the other thing is understanding and preparing your ideal offer. That's where you were, is prioritizing your needs versus your wants in a competitive market. And I think that that's really important too, because did you remember?
Yeah. We talked about a couple shows ago of like the importance of having professional real estate agent with you because they know the questions to ask. Like it is okay to call as an agent to call the listing agent and say, hey, do you have any offers? Because if they say they have offers, they 9 million times out of 10 they probably do.
Yeah.
Like you won't know the answer unless you ask the question. And that goes for everything in life, by the way.
Don't assume, because you know what that means.
Yeah,
and I
you
can't
know what
say
that
it on the
means.
radio. But it's something. Makes a something out of you and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So-
a bum for every seat. There's a house for every buyer.
Yes.
But these are like, you have to know the questions to ask. And do you have another offer is a question that you should be asking.
100%. Or how many offers do you currently have on the table or in hand? Prioritizing your needs versus your wants in a competitive market too. And we did sort of discuss this. I actually was talking to Kate about it this weekend, and we've discussed it many a times that both of us have on the show. Is, what are the things that you definitely need versus the things that you want to have? Because it isn't really a market where you can be like, well, it is. I'm saying this two ways. I feel two ways about this. Like, it isn't a market that a lot of buyers are particularly picky about, but as a buyer's agent, I don't want anyone to settle,
Yeah.
right? So what are those definite needs? Like, you definitely want, and there's nothing that's going to hold you back, you want a basement.
I do. Yeah. Yep.
So you want a basement. So that's just going to be something that when you're looking at a house, you're going to be like, I'm not going to settle for this house because maybe I love everything else, but I really, really, really want that basement. But there could be something else where maybe the appliances are black versus stainless steel, but it has everything else. You might say, okay, that's a compromise I can live with.
Yeah. And I have been pretty vocal about, at least my wants as a buyer. It's more of like, I want something with a little bit of character, and if it's dated, I'm totally fine with that because I want a space where I can go in and do, put my finishing touches on and make it my home. Everybody has a different style, aesthetic, personal taste, and I would rather go into a house that really hasn't, like, the mechanicals are great, like the mechanicals are updated or maintained rather than, the kitchen and the bathrooms are dated. Okay, that's fine. But if it has some character to it and it has good bones, I'm in a basement.
Yeah. I think too, like you were just saying, like, you know what, if you have avocado green toilet and sink, but they're clean, I'm sort of okay with it.
And I know a plumber.
Yeah, I know a plumber. He is going to be so upset about this show. He's upstairs listening right now, and he's going to be like, what were you two doing?
You should have replayed a show.
Yeah. He could have came downstairs and, like, got us back on track,
Yeah.
too.
But there are things like, and I think that I'm this way because I know so many people in the trades, and I do have so many people in my corner that, like, I can lean into and do want to see this for me. So I have that sort of benefit or advantage or whatever you want to call it, but I'm also, I'm not looking for my forever home. Like, I'm just looking for something small that has a basement and something that's small that needs work. Really, I'm fine with doing the work. It's the mechanicals that, and I'm just thinking about a particular home that I probably would have done some different things with.
Yeah.
And so when you just said that somebody went into a house in my price range and they've been putting in offer after offer, I'm like, where? Because where's the inventory? I haven't put in an offer
Yeah, but
in
look
months.
they were at a house that didn't have a basement.
Yeah, but even I'm looking out there.
I know. We know people are listening. Some of the other things too is when you're crafting your offer. I mean your offer to purchase the house. This is something that Melissa highlighted a little while ago is, having a professional real estate agent in your corner to help you and someone who understands what the best way to predict the future is usually by the past. So we can see what the trends are and what people are doing. So like last year, we went through this whole phase of people like waiving their home inspection and waiving their contingencies. And we never thought that that was a good idea. And people were doing it. But I'm seeing more and more now that you don't even have to do that.
Yeah.
That most of the offers that we're getting do have
A
have a home inspection in them. Yeah. And then there are other things that you can try, like an escalation clause. You could get other creative ideas if you're thinking about putting in a house. And I think an escalation clause is really good from a buyer perspective because everybody's afraid of paying too much. Like, hey, when I go to like DSW to look at shoes, I mean, I don't start in the front of the building. I go to the back and I look at the clearance stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, DSW.
Yeah.
I have good luck at DSW
Yeah.
the clearance.
And we're going to find Melissa over in the day old bread. Let's stop and shop.
Half loaves.
Half loaves of bread.
loaves.
She'll be in the return aisle. But what my point is to that is no one wants to feel as if they've overpaid for anything, right? So having an escalation clause is a really good way if the seller will entertain it.
Yeah.
To put your maximum, what you would be willing to pay, as your top number. But let's just say a house is on the market for $400,000. You say, I'll give you $400,000, but I'm willing to give you $1,000, $2,500, whatever, over your highest offer not to exceed $425. So
Yeah.
that way if someone comes in at 405, now you're 406 and you don't feel as if you're going to your complete reach.
Well, that's why I think it's so important to price a home in the condition that it's in, because how many times have you said on this show, like, you can never underprice a home, you can only overprice a home. And those will stick out in this kind of market.
Yeah.
They will stick out.
Yep.
And the reason is because you keep hearing everything's flying off the shelves, everything's flying off the market. Like, the market's hot. Like, I don't like that saying. Like, market's hot. It's this, that. Because when it's not flying off, it's probably because it's overpriced.
Yes. Or that people just don't, it's overpriced. I was going to try to put it a nicer way. Like the people don't see the value of either the location, the condition for the price. So,
well, that's why the things that you can't change the house also have to be reflected in the price.
Yep.
So, like, you can't change the location of it. You can't change, what's something you can't change? The town it's in.
yeah. There's
That's
lots
the
of
same
things.
thing.
Lots of things about a house you can't change.
There's a lot of things about the house that you can't
I mean, there are a lot of
change.
things that you can change too. I mean, like you can put a basement in a house. It's going to cost you a ton of money, but you can do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's sort of, exaggerating, but for the most part, yes. So the do's and don'ts, but I want to talk about the don'ts when you're submitting an offer and avoiding some common mistakes that could jeopardize your offer. So if you are a buyer and you're considering putting in an offer on a property, one, I think that you should be doing it with a professional real estate agent. But skipping important contingencies or inspections, you don't have to do that anymore. So I think that there are instances where sellers are, if I was a seller and somebody said, yes, I want to buy your house without a home inspection, yes, of course, that's the one that would be most intriguing, I would guess. But I would say, as a buyer, you shouldn't feel obligated that you can't have that privilege of getting a home inspection and learning all the things about the house. What about like making unreasonable demands or lowball offers? Like that is called a buyer's market. We are in a seller's market, right?
Yeah.
So
Unless the home is overpriced.
yeah, well, and you know what? I feel as if the value of a house and what the sale price ends up being, it's like water. It seeks its own level. It will be what it will be.
Yeah. It'll figure itself out.
Yeah. So don't make unreasonable lowball offers. And there was a time when I would see people would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna. That house isn't worth $400,000. I'm gonna offer 325." And no, it's worth 400. But
Yeah.
we're not seeing a whole lot of that right now. Failing to personalize your offer to connect with the seller. So there are certain things, people will talk about maybe doing a love letter or having their agent do it.
Well, actually, I didn't even think about a love letter. Like, what just popped into my mind was finding out what the seller is looking for in an offer. So whether it's a closing date or, if
Yeah. What is their ideal offer?
yeah, what's their ideal offer look like? And I think that's super important and should be one of the questions that an agent is asking.
Absolutely. We have a lot of different things that we have to talk about at the end of our show today, but so we're on to segment 5 right now, which is overcoming assumptions. So this is one thing that I'd like to just get out there, debunking the myths and assumptions about submitting an offer. Don't assume that you have to have a home inspection. That you can't have a home inspection. Don't assume that there are probably several offers on that property because the open house was packed. There were a lot of showings. Just don't assume that because you don't know. We
Yeah.
already sort of talked about it, but
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know because you're not asking.
yeah, need to ask.
I feel like I could say that in all aspects of my life. You don't know what you don't know because you're not asking.
My father always says, ask. The worst they could say is no. And you already have no if you don't ask, right? So discuss the misconception of not having a chance due to the market competition. And this is a real thing where people are going in and they're just saying, oh my gosh, if this house is already listed at $400,000 and all these people are interested in it, it's probably going to go for $50,000 over. I had somebody at the open house this past weekend and he was talking to me and he was like, well, how far over do you think that you're going to get on offers? And I had the same memory from when I had another house listed in Pembroke last year on the pond. A lot of people were in there and the same exact question was coming up. And I was like, I can tell you what market value is, but I cannot tell you nor can I gauge what emotional value is. So it's really going to come down to that.
Yeah.
But don't even assume, back to that number one there, is don't assume that there are several offers, potentially or none.
Yeah. I mean, even when I, had an accepted offer last year, I did an escalation clause and I didn't even have to use it. I went in at asking and then did an escalation clause. They had one other offer, which is the reason why I did it that way. And I didn't have to use my escalation clause. So that either means that they had at asking or their terms weren't as great or they had below asking.
Yeah. Yep.
And here I am, still looking for a home.
Yeah, and it's sort of like I've been thinking about this too, and like the market, and I've been through so many of them. I mean, I've been doing this for 21, 22 years, and I've seen the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, and I tend to stay very melancholy and in between for all of that. It just keeps me balanced that way. Because when people get too excited about a market, the fall from there to bottom is a lot further than just being neutral to bottom. So this current market right now is just extremely interesting to me, just to see the mindset of where people are. And I think, and it's no joke. I mean, we were kidding about the bread. You just literally hit a funny spot with me for some reason because you were so passionate about your bread and not having a full loaf. But I mean, it's true. I mean, when you see the expenses and how expensive it is for everything, like what's going on in our economy right now, the fear of people losing, potentially getting laid off and things like that, those are all real things that we have to consider, which is why when we're helping our clients as buyers put in an offer on a property, we don't want you overextending yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, Mark and I have been in the same house for 30 years. You know, we've always, whether up, down, high, low, in between, whatever, if McNamara Plumbing was down or if real estate was down or if we were both, we were always able to live basically on one income, whoever the income was. Okay. Just heard the doorbell again. Let's just see. Addressing offers insights based on, I'm just reading out my thing here. Any other tips and recommendations?
I just think, put your best foot forward, but be within your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I know that's sort of easy for somebody else to say, but especially with, when you are competing with a different offer, but like, you don't want to be those people who purchased at the height,
Yeah.
and now they don't have any equity in their home.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too is, sometimes you think like, okay, I'm on the market for this amount, and then there's another house that's similar, not too far away, but it's like same sort of layout, same area, less updates. But somebody might look at that and say, even though it is more money, I am willing to pay for that one because I can put my own sweat equity into it.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a real thing too. All right. Well, tonight's show, we apologize for that.
I apologize for everything.
We apologize for that. I mean, at least we made Liz laugh, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
We'll make up for it on Saturday. We will be here again on Saturday.
For our yard sale.
Yes, we're going to have our yard sale, and the following week we're going to have one of our listeners who listens in. He works, his name's Joe, and he works at, but he is on the planning board in Hanson. He had called in a couple weeks ago, so we're going to have him in studio and talk to him about affordable housing and the new plans. And this is what we need to get more inventory, things like this, with towns being creative and clever about getting affordable housing, how they're allowing accessory apartments in the town of Hanson now, and they don't have to be attached. And then I'm also going to have Judith Parks on with me, and I sit on the committee with her, Affordable Housing Committee in Pembroke. She's the chair, so she's going to be joining us as well. Do you want to talk about our yard sale? You already did. Yeah,
I have talked about it.
So I have a couple announcements. These are more for the town of Pembroke, but if you have a high school or middle school student who loves art and wants to make a difference in the community, I'm part of the master plan committee, so I am for affordable housing, I am our representative on the master plan committee, and we are looking for submissions for a new logo for the town master plan website, and it will go on the paper version of it as well. The logo should reflect the town's vision for the future and the values of the community, and consider using symbols, imagery that represents growth, sustainability, or community spirit. We will have a $50 Amazon gift card for people who do put in an put in a submission. You can submit your design to masterplan@townofpembrokemass.org. masterplan@townofpembrokemass.org. Go on to our Facebook page too at Pembroke Connect has this information on there as well. So calling all young artists in Pembroke for an opportunity to win that contest. And we're hoping in the next couple of, I think by the 10th, we have to have all of those submissions in. The other thing for Town of Pembroke Master Plan, the public forum, this is going to be fun. So if you want to get involved and you want to make a difference and you're tired of saying, hey, I didn't know about this, or I want a chance to make, my ideas come to life, the Master Plan Committee is having a public forum with VHB, which is the consulting company that is providing us the services for the Master Plan. That's going to be Tuesday, June 20th at 6:30 p.m. at the Pembroke High School. So we would love to have you. For more information, just send us an email at masterplan@townofpembroke.org, pembrokemass.org. You can also find that on the Pembroke Connect page. There's a QR code for you to scan, and you can reserve because the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce is going to be providing small refreshments and snacks. So again, sorry for this terrible show.
Sorry.
Go to bostonconnect.com if you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team. Feel free to reach out to me at Sharon at Boston Connect, bostonconnect.com. All of our past shows are on Talk Real Estate Roundtable, any podcast app that you use. And we will be back on Saturday. Thanks, George.
Take care.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Brockton. The South Shore's first choice for live team coverage of breaking news, emergency traffic, and severe weather. WATD.